I want you to imagine something for a second. You find a condo on Clearwater Beach. The view is exactly what you pictured. The price fits your budget, you go under contract. And 2 weeks before closing, you find out there's a special assessment for $28,000. The reserve fund is 34% funded. The milestone inspection just came back with structural repairs required, and you had no idea any of that existed when you made your offer. That scenario is not hypothetical. It is the exact situation buyers are walking into right now in this market when they don't know what questions to ask before they go under contract on a Florida condo. If you're moving to Florida and you're trying to decide between a condo and a single-family home, this video might be the most important one you watch before you make that call. Because the market changed, the rules changed, and a lot of buyers from out of state are making a very expensive decision based on information that's 2 or 3 years old. I'm going to walk you through the real comparison, not the vacation version, the version where you are actually living in it, paying for it, and trying to sell it someday. Stay with me. Let me give you the context first, because without it, the rest of this doesn't make sense. In 2022, the Champlain Towers collapse in Surfside changed everything for condo ownership in Florida. The state passed Senate Bill 4D and then followed it with additional legislation that fundamentally changed the financial obligations for condo associations across the state. Here's what it means for you as a buyer right now. First, condo associations are now required to conduct structural integrity reserve studies and fund reserves at the levels those studies recommend. For decades, many associations in Florida waived reserve funding. That era is over. Second, milestone inspections are required for buildings that are 3 stories or taller and have reached a certain age. Those inspections cost money. If repairs are identified, those costs get passed to the unit owners. Third, if a condo association does not have the cash reserves to cover required repairs, they issue special assessments. That means every unit owner gets a bill, sometimes for tens of thousands of dollars, sometimes more. Here's what most buyers don't realize until they're already under contract. That assessment could come before you even close. I'm not telling you this to scare you away from condos. There are condos in this market that are well-run, well-funded, and are excellent options for the right buyer. But you need to know how to tell the difference, and you need an agent who knows what questions to ask before you go under contract. We'll get to that in a minute. First, let me lay out the actual comparison. HOA fees in this market vary wildly. I've seen everything from a couple $100s a month to well over $1,000, sometimes in buildings that look almost identical from the outside. That range alone should tell you something. It tells you that what's behind the fee matters just as much as the fee itself. This is where it gets expensive, and nobody talks about it on the condo tour. What drives that number up? A few things that buyers rarely think to ask about. The age of the building and what deferred maintenance has been accumulating, whether the association has been properly funding its reserves, or whether it's been kicking that responsibility down the road for years. And now, post SB 4D, associations that underfunded reserves for decades are being required to catch up. That catch-up cost lands on current owners, which means it could land on you. Then there's insurance. Florida homeowners insurance has shifted significantly in the last few years. Waterfront and near beach properties carry additional exposure. The gap between what buyers budget for insurance and what they actually get quoted when they're under contract can be significant. I've watched that surprise derail deals. And this is the part that surprises almost every buyer from up north. The monthly cost of owning a condo in Florida is almost never what the listing sheet suggests. On the single-family side, you own the land, you control the exterior, you set your own maintenance timeline. You're not subject to what a board of unit owners decides at a meeting you did not know was happening. That independence has real financial value, especially right now. The trade-off is entry price. Single-family homes in waterfront or near beach locations in Pinellas County command a premium. You're typically looking at a meaningfully high purchase price to get comparable square footage and proximity to the water. For some buyers, the math works. For others, a well-run condo in the right building is actually the smarter move. The key word there is well-run, and that is exactly what we're going to talk about next. I work with buyers from the Northeast and Midwest every week who are relocating to the Gulf Coast, and I can tell you this decision breaks down pretty cleanly once I understand how someone actually plans to use the property. Condos make sense when you want low exterior maintenance and you're willing to pay for it through HOA fees. You plan to spend part of the year here and want the building to handle grounds and security when you're gone. You want walkability, water views, or a specific amenity package that single-family homes in this market don't offer at your price point. And critically, you're buying into a well-run association with funded reserves, clean financials, and a recent milestone inspection with no deferred repairs. Single-family makes more sense when you're relocating full-time and you want control over your property without board approval. You have pets or a lifestyle that doesn't fit most condo rules. You want the ability to rent freely without HOA rental restrictions, or you simply don't want the financial exposure of a shared building with aging infrastructure and an underfunded reserve account. And this is the part that surprises almost every buyer from up north. In Florida, the condo rules vary wildly from building to building. What is allowed in one tower is prohibited in the next one. That is exactly why you need someone walking through with you before you start making offers, not after. If you're seriously thinking about making a move to Florida and you want someone who actually knows both markets, I work with buyers from Buffalo and the Northeast every week. The link below gets you on my calendar. No pressure, no pitch, just a real conversation about what makes sense for your situation. If you're still leaning toward a condo, here's exactly what I want you to know before you go under contract. These are the questions that will protect you. Question 1. When was the last reserve study and what is the current funding level? A fully funded reserve is the goal. Anything below 70% funded should be a yellow flag. Below 50% is a red one. Ask for the most recent reserve study document. If the association can't produce it, that's your answer. Question 2. Are there any pending or recently passed special assessments? This is a non-negotiable due diligence. A seller is required to disclose known assessments, but you want this in writing and you want to see the actual board minutes. Don't rely on the listing sheet. Question 3. Has the milestone inspection report been completed? What were the findings? For buildings 3 stories and above, this is a statutory requirement now. If the building is in the inspection queue and has not been done yet, you need to understand what that timeline looks like and what exposure you might be buying into. Question 4. What are the rental restrictions? If you have any thought of renting the unit, even seasonally, you need to know the minimum rental period, the cap on the number of rentals per year, and whether the association allows short-term rentals at all. Some buildings in this market have 12-month minimum lease requirements. That will surprise a lot of buyers from markets where Airbnb is standard. I want to be straight with you about something. Most of these questions are not on Zillow. Most buyers from out of state do not think to ask them all. That gap is where expensive surprises live. A good buyer agent should be pulling the condo documents, reviewing the budget, flagging the reserve study, and walking you through every line before you remove your inspection contingency. If your agent isn't doing that, you need a different agent. So, condo or single family? The honest answer, it depends entirely on your situation. How you plan to use the property, what are your risk tolerances, what the specific building looks like financially, and what the rest of the timeline looks like. What I can tell you is that it's not a decision to be made based on a weekend visit or a Zillow scroll. The Florida condo market in 2026 is more complicated than it was 3 years ago. The buyers who are navigating it well are the ones who went in with the right information and someone who knew where to look. If you want to talk through your specific situation, the Linktree link in the description gets you on my calendar. I work with buyers relocating from the Northeast and Midwest every week. This is exactly the kind of conversation I have all the time, and I'm happy to have it with you. If this was useful, subscribe. I put out real Gulf Coast buyer content every week. No fluff, no generic moving to Florida advice, just what you actually need to know when you're making a real decision. I'll see you in the next one.